Remember those forgotten 10-minute recipes? The ones you could only find in old cookbooks and nowhere else back then? What if I told you that buried in your grandmother's recipe box lies a culinary superpower that could revolutionize your kitchen tonight? These weren't just recipes, they were survival skills disguised as comfort food, crafted by women who could transform 3 simple ingredients into a feast that made children race to the dinner table. Peanut butter and bacon toast. The unlikely pairing of creamy peanut butter with crispy bacon created indulgent breakfast treats that satisfied both sweet and savory cravings in one delicious bite. Toasted bread spread with peanut butter while still warm, then topped with crumbled bacon, created combinations that seemed strange but tasted extraordinary. Adventurous eaters discovered this combination through experimentation or regional traditions that paired unexpected flavors with surprising success. The protein from both peanut butter and bacon provided sustained energy that kept hunger at bay longer than traditional sweet breakfast foods. Busy families appreciated quick breakfast options that required minimal preparation while delivering maximum satisfaction and nutrition. The combination worked equally well on regular toast, English muffins, or bagels, providing flexibility for different family preferences and available ingredients. Children who loved both peanut butter and bacon found this combination irresistible, making breakfast time easier for parents dealing with picky eaters who resisted traditional morning foods. Cream cheese and olive sandwiches. The sophisticated combination of cream cheese and green olives created elegant tea sandwiches that transformed simple lunch ingredients into party-worthy appetizers in minutes. Softened cream cheese mixed with chopped olives spread easily on thin bread, creating finger sandwiches perfect for bridge parties and afternoon gatherings. The salty, briny flavor of olives balanced the rich creaminess of cheese, creating complex tastes that impressed guests without requiring cooking skills or expensive ingredients. Hostesses appreciated recipes that could be prepared ahead of time and assembled quickly when company arrived unexpectedly. The sandwiches cut into triangles or strips looked elegant on serving platters, making humble ingredients appear sophisticated and refined. Children often found the combination too grown-up for their taste, making these sandwiches feel special and adult-oriented. The recipe represented an era when entertaining at home was common, and hostesses took pride in creating memorable experiences using simple, readily available ingredients. Minute steak with mustard butter glaze. Thin cuts of beef became gourmet dinners in minutes when busy cooks discovered the magic of mustard butter glazes that transformed tough meat into tender, flavorful meals. The technique required high heat and quick timing, searing minute steaks for 90 seconds per side while butter mixed with yellow mustard melted into a golden sauce. Working mothers relied on this recipe when unexpected guests arrived or when dinner plans fell through at the last minute. The mustard cut through the richness of butter while adding tangy flavor that complemented the beef's natural taste. Smart cooks kept minute steaks in the freezer and mustard butter pre-mixed in the refrigerator for emergency meals that impressed without stress. The dish proved that fast food didn't have to mean processed food, showing how simple techniques could create restaurant-quality results in home kitchens with minimal preparation and maximum flavor. Bologna cups with peas and cheese. Creative cooks turned humble bologna into elegant individual servings by forming slices into cups and filling them with colorful combinations that delighted children and adults alike. The technique was simple, pressing bologna slices into muffin tins, then filling the natural cups with hot creamed peas topped with melted cheese. The result looked fancy enough for company while using ingredients that cost less than $1 per serving. Mothers loved this recipe because it made ordinary lunch meat feel special and encouraged children to eat vegetables without complaints. The Bologna cups held their shape perfectly, creating individual portions that eliminated serving disputes and made cleanup easier. Variations included different vegetables, sauces, and cheese combinations, allowing creative cooks to customize the dish according to family preferences and available ingredients. The recipe represented the era's genius for transforming common ingredients into something extraordinary through clever presentation and simple techniques. Creamed corn and egg drop skillet. Canned creamed corn became the foundation for protein-rich dinners when eggs were dropped directly into the bubbling mixture, creating one-pan meals that satisfied and nourished. The technique was simple: heating creamed corn in a skillet, then cracking eggs directly into the mixture and covering until whites set and yolks remained creamy. Busy cooks loved recipes that required only one pan and created complete meals without elaborate preparation or multiple cooking steps. The combination provided both protein and vegetables in a comforting, satisfying dish that appealed to all ages. Children found the combination mild and familiar, while adults appreciated the quick preparation and economical use of simple ingredients. The dish worked equally well for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, proving that good food didn't need to fit traditional meal categories. Variations included adding cheese, herbs, or seasonings to customize flavors according to family preferences and available ingredients. Hot dog roll-ups with cheese. Sliced hot dogs rolled in bread with cheese and baked until golden created quick lunches that satisfied hungry children while giving mothers a break from elaborate meal preparation. The assembly line approach made multiple servings quickly, flattening bread slices with a rolling pin, adding cheese and hot dog pieces, then rolling tight and securing with toothpicks. 10 minutes in a hot oven transformed these simple ingredients into crispy, cheesy treats that disappeared as fast as they were made. School-age children could help with assembly, making this recipe perfect for teaching kitchen skills while preparing meals together. The combination of familiar flavors in a new presentation made even picky eaters enthusiastic about lunchtime. Busy mothers appreciated recipes that used ingredients they always had on hand, creating satisfying meals without special trips to the grocery store or complicated preparation methods that required constant attention. Egg curry and cream sauce. Hard-boiled eggs swimming in spiced cream sauce brought exotic flavors to American tables using common ingredients that every household kept in their pantry and spice rack. The sauce combined curry powder with cream or milk, creating golden aromatic mixtures that transformed plain eggs into sophisticated dinners in under 10 minutes. Adventurous cooks who wanted to expand their family's palate found this recipe approachable enough for beginners while delivering complex flavors that impressed dinner guests. The eggs could be prepared ahead of time, making the final assembly lightning fast when hunger struck or unexpected company arrived. Served over rice or toast, the dish provided complete protein and satisfying flavors that filled stomachs and broadened culinary horizons. The recipe introduced families to international spices without requiring special ingredients or complicated techniques, proving that global flavors could emerge from ordinary American kitchens with just a little creativity and willingness to experiment. Spaghetti spoon pie. Leftover spaghetti found new life when transformed into individual pie servings that could be prepared and baked in less time than it took to boil fresh pasta. Cooked spaghetti mixed with egg and cheese, then pressed into muffin tins and topped with sauce and more cheese, created portable dinners perfect for busy families. The technique solved the eternal problem of leftover pasta while creating individual portions that eliminated serving disputes and made lunch packing easier. Children loved eating pie for dinner, while mothers appreciated using ingredients that might otherwise go to waste. The individual servings reheated perfectly, making them ideal for packed lunches or quick dinners when family members ate at different times. Creative cooks added vegetables, different cheeses, or meat to customize each serving according to individual preferences. The recipe represented the era's practical approach to cooking, where nothing went to waste and creativity turned leftovers into exciting new meals. Pimento cheese on toast points. The queen of quick appetizers ruled southern tables and bridge parties with her creamy orange glow and tangy bite that made every gathering feel special. Sharp cheddar mixed with cream cheese, diced pimentos, and mayonnaise created a spread that transformed ordinary bread into elegant hors d'oeuvres in under 5 minutes. Mothers would whip up batches during afternoon phone calls, spreading the mixture on triangular toast points while catching up on neighborhood news. The secret lay in using pre-shredded cheese and jarred pimentos, ingredients that every well-stocked pantry contained for emergency entertaining. Children loved the bright color and mild flavor, making it a reliable crowd pleaser for family gatherings and unexpected guests. The dish required no cooking skills beyond operating a toaster, yet impressed everyone who tasted it with its rich, creamy texture and sophisticated appearance that belied its simple preparation. Cottage cheese with pineapple rings. The ultimate diet lunch of the 1950s and 60s combined protein-rich cottage cheese with sweet pineapple rings, creating satisfying meals that felt indulgent while supporting weight loss goals. Canned pineapple rings arranged on plates with scoops of cottage cheese in the centers created visually appealing presentations that made simple ingredients look restaurant-worthy. Health-conscious women relied on this combination for quick lunches that provided sustained energy without heavy calories or complicated preparation. The contrast between creamy, tangy cottage cheese and sweet, juicy pineapple satisfied both savory and sweet cravings in one simple dish. Modern dieters might scoff at the simplicity, but this combination provided balanced nutrition and genuine satisfaction that kept hunger at bay for hours. The recipe required no cooking skills, just attractive plating that made healthy eating feel like a treat rather than a punishment, proving that effective diet food didn't have to be complicated or expensive. Quick corn fritters with syrup drizzle. Canned corn transformed into golden, crispy fritters using simple batter techniques that created restaurant-quality breakfast treats in minutes rather than hours. The batter combined corn, flour, egg, and milk into a mixture that could be spooned into hot oil and fried until golden brown. Busy mothers made these fritters for weekend breakfasts when they wanted something special but didn't have time for elaborate pancake preparations. The sweet corn flavor paired perfectly with maple syrup, creating combinations that satisfied both children and adults. The recipe used ingredients that most households kept on hand, making it perfect for spontaneous breakfast treats or unexpected guests. Creative cooks added spices, cheese, or herbs to create savory variations that worked equally well as side dishes for dinner. The fritters could be made ahead and reheated, making them practical for busy morning schedules while still providing homemade taste and satisfaction. 1 egg pancakes with raisins. Single-serving pancakes solved the problem of feeding one person without wasting ingredients or creating excessive cleanup, making breakfast possible even on the busiest mornings. 1 egg, a small amount of flour, milk, and a pinch of baking powder created enough batter for a satisfying stack of small pancakes. Raisins added natural sweetness and chewy texture that made these simple pancakes feel special and indulgent. Working mothers appreciated recipes that could be scaled for any number of people without complicated math or leftover batter. The small batch size meant fresh pancakes every time, avoiding the soggy disappointment of reheated breakfast foods. Children loved the tiny size and sweet raisins, making breakfast time more enjoyable and less stressful for busy families. The recipe proved that satisfying breakfast didn't require feeding a crowd or using expensive ingredients, showing how simple techniques could create memorable meals from basic pantry staples. Baked apples with brown sugar and margarine. Whole apples cored and filled with brown sugar and margarine created healthy desserts that satisfied sweet cravings while providing genuine nutrition in less time than traditional pies or cakes. The microwave revolution made this recipe even faster, reducing cooking time from 30 minutes to 5, while maintaining the tender texture and caramelized sweetness. Health-conscious families appreciated desserts that featured real fruit as the main ingredient, rather than processed sugar and artificial flavors. The natural sweetness of apples combined with brown sugar created complex flavors that rivaled more complicated desserts. Individual servings eliminated portion control issues while making presentation elegant and appealing. The recipe worked with any variety of apple, making it practical for using whatever was available or on sale. Children learned to appreciate fruit-based desserts, developing healthy eating habits that lasted into adulthood while still enjoying sweet treats that satisfied their natural cravings. Cottage fried apples with butter and sugar. Fresh apples, sliced and sautéed with butter and sugar, created warm, comforting side dishes that paired perfectly with pork, chicken, or breakfast foods. The quick cooking method preserved the apple's texture while creating a light caramelized coating that enhanced natural sweetness. Southern cooks particularly appreciated this recipe as an accompaniment to ham, pork chops, or breakfast sausage, creating complete meals with minimal effort. The dish bridged the gap between side dish and dessert, satisfying both savory and sweet cravings in one simple preparation. Busy cooks could prepare cottage fried apples while other dishes finished cooking, making efficient use of stovetop space and cooking time. The recipe worked with any variety of apple, from tart Granny Smith's to sweet Red Delicious, allowing cooks to customize flavors according to personal preference. Children who might resist plain fruit found these sweetened apples irresistible, helping families incorporate more fruit into their regular meal rotation. Cracker omelets. Crushed crackers added substance and flavor to simple eggs, creating hearty omelets that satisfied appetites while stretching expensive protein ingredients to feed more people. Saltine crackers crushed directly into beaten eggs created texture and bulk that made small amounts of eggs feel more substantial and filling. Depression-era families relied on techniques like this to make expensive ingredients go further while still providing satisfying, nutritious meals. The crackers absorbed flavors and added a subtle saltiness that enhanced the eggs without overwhelming their delicate taste. Busy cooks appreciated recipes that used ingredients they always had on hand, creating satisfying meals without special shopping trips or expensive additions. The technique worked with various types of crackers, from saltines to oyster crackers, allowing creative cooks to experiment with different flavors and textures. Children found the unusual texture interesting and appealing, making this a reliable way to encourage egg consumption in families with picky eaters. Jellied tomato juice cocktail. Unflavored gelatin transformed ordinary tomato juice into elegant appetizers that looked like restaurant fare while using simple, economical ingredients that every household kept in their pantry. The technique involved dissolving gelatin in hot water, then mixing with cold tomato juice and seasonings before chilling until set. Hostesses served jellied tomato juice in small glasses or cups, creating sophisticated first courses that impressed dinner guests. The recipe allowed for creative variations with different seasonings, from celery salt to Worcestershire sauce, customizing flavors according to personal preference. Health-conscious diners appreciated appetizers that provided vegetables and vitamins rather than empty calories from processed snacks. The make-ahead nature of jellied appetizers made entertaining easier, allowing hostesses to prepare elegant first courses hours before guests arrived. The unusual texture and flavor challenged palates accustomed to more conventional appetizers, making dinner parties memorable and conversation-worthy. Celery logs with cheese, whiz, and paprika. Fresh celery stalks filled with processed cheese and sprinkled with paprika created colorful, crunchy appetizers that provided nutrition and satisfaction without any cooking required. The combination of crisp celery, creamy cheese, and smoky paprika created textural and flavor contrasts that pleased both children and adults. Busy mothers appreciated snacks that incorporated vegetables while still appealing to young palates that often rejected healthy foods. The recipe required no special skills or equipment, just basic knife work to clean celery and fill the natural grooves with cheese. Party planners found celery logs perfect for appetizer platters, adding color and crunch alongside other finger foods. The individual logs provided natural portion control while making elegant presentations that looked more complicated than they actually were. Children could help prepare celery logs, learning basic kitchen skills while contributing to family meals and special occasions. The recipe represented an era when processed foods were embraced as modern conveniences rather than viewed with suspicion. Tomato soup with crushed saltines and butter swirl. Canned tomato soup elevated to comfort food perfection with the simple additions of crushed saltine crackers for texture and a swirl of butter for richness that transformed basic soup into satisfying meals. The crackers absorbed soup while maintaining some crunch, creating textural interest that made thin soup feel more substantial and filling. A dollop of butter melted into an attractive swirl on top, adding visual appeal and rich flavor that enhanced the soup's natural taste. Busy mothers relied on enhanced convenience foods when time was short, but nutrition and satisfaction were still important. The technique taught children that simple additions could transform ordinary foods into something special and delicious. Cold winter days called for warming comfort foods that could be prepared quickly without sacrificing taste or nutritional value. The recipe represented practical home cooking at its finest, showing how basic ingredients and simple techniques could create memorable meals that nourished both body and soul. Canned spinach with vinegar and sugar. The secret to making canned spinach palatable lay in the perfect balance of tangy vinegar and sweet sugar that mask the metallic taste while enhancing the vegetable's natural earthiness. This technique transformed the dreaded green vegetable into something children would actually eat, solving a major parenting challenge with minimal effort. Smart cooks heated canned spinach with a splash of white vinegar and a pinch of sugar, creating sweet and sour flavors that appealed to young palates. The addition of a pat of butter created richness that made the humble vegetable feel more indulgent and satisfying. Nutrition-conscious mothers appreciated any method that encouraged vegetable consumption without battles at the dinner table. The technique worked with frozen spinach as well, providing flexibility for cooks who preferred different forms of this nutritious green. The recipe represented an era when getting children to eat vegetables required creativity and compromise rather than strict adherence to natural flavors.
Liver and onions. Every mother knew that liver packed more nutrition per pound than almost any other meat, making it a weekly staple when budgets were tight and growing children needed iron. The trick was soaking the liver in milk for an hour before cooking, which removed the strong metallic taste that made kids wrinkle their noses. Smart mothers would coat thin slices in seasoned flour and fry them quickly with sweet caramelized onions, creating a meal that even the pickiest eaters would finish. The whole house would smell like a real home-cooked dinner, not the processed foods that would later take over American kitchens. Fathers would praise their wives for serving such a nutritious meal, while children learned to appreciate foods that were good for them, even if they didn't always taste like candy. This dish taught entire generations that eating well sometimes meant eating things that challenge your taste buds, but rewarded your health. Creamed chipped beef on toast. Military families brought this hearty breakfast for dinner tradition home from the war, turning dried beef and white sauce into a satisfying meal that stuck to your ribs. The secret was making a proper roux with butter and flour, then slowly whisking in milk until it became thick and creamy before adding the salty, shredded beef. Ladled over thick slices of buttered toast, it provided the kind of substantial comfort food that kept families full and happy without breaking the household budget. Kids might have called it strange names, but they always cleaned their plates when mother served this filling favorite. Veterans would smile knowingly when this appeared on the dinner table, remembering how this same dish had sustained them through difficult times overseas. The combination of salty beef and creamy sauce created a perfect balance that satisfied both adults who remembered harder times and children who just knew it tasted good. Beef stroganoff. Tender strips of beef and rich, creamy sauce over egg noodles brought a touch of European elegance to American dinner tables, without requiring expensive ingredients or complicated techniques. Smart cooks used less expensive cuts of beef, slicing them thin and cooking them quickly to keep them tender, then creating the signature sauce with sour cream and beef broth. The mushrooms added earthiness, while the paprika provided that distinctive flavor that made this dish feel special enough for company. It was the kind of meal that made ordinary weeknight dinners feel like occasions worth celebrating. Many families discovered this recipe through women's magazines or cooking shows, bringing a taste of sophistication to suburban kitchens across America. The creamy sauce was rich enough to satisfy hearty appetites, but elegant enough to serve when the neighbors came over for dinner. Pot roast with vegetables. Sunday dinner meant pot roast slowly braising in the oven, while families got ready for church, filling the house with the kind of aroma that made everyone eager to come home. The tough, inexpensive cuts of beef became fork tender after hours of slow cooking, while carrots, potatoes, and onions absorbed all those rich, meaty flavors. Smart cooks started this meal early in the day, knowing that low and slow was the secret to transforming humble ingredients into something spectacular. The leftover gravy made perfect sauce for the vegetables, and any remaining meat became the foundation for Monday's hash or sandwiches. The whole house would smell like Sunday dinner from morning until evening, creating an atmosphere of warmth and anticipation that brought families together. This was the kind of meal that taught patience and planning, showing how time and care could transform tough cuts of meat into something tender and delicious. Chicken fried steak. Cube steak pounded thin, coated in seasoned flour, and fried until golden, then smothered in creamy white gravy, brought Southern comfort food to dinner tables across America. The key was creating a crispy coating that stayed attached to the meat, achieved through proper breading technique and careful temperature control. The gravy was made from the pan drippings, creating a rich, peppery sauce that complemented the crispy steak perfectly. Served with mashed potatoes and green beans, this was the kind of meal that made ordinary weeknight dinners feel like special occasions. The pounding of the meat became a therapeutic activity for busy mothers, working out the day's frustrations while preparing dinner for their families. This dish proved that tough, inexpensive cuts of meat could be transformed into something tender and delicious with the right technique and a little extra effort. Sloppy Joes. Ground beef cooked with onions and a tangy, slightly sweet sauce, then served on hamburger buns, created a messy but delicious meal that kids absolutely loved. The sauce was the secret, a combination of ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and brown sugar that gave the meat its distinctive flavor and slightly sticky texture. Smart mothers served these with plenty of napkins and often paired them with potato chips or coleslaw. This was the kind of casual, fun meal that brought families together around the table without any fuss or formality. Birthday parties and casual gatherings often featured sloppy joes because they were easy to make in large quantities and appealed to both children and adults. The informal nature of eating these messy sandwiches created a relaxed atmosphere that encouraged conversation and laughter around the dinner table.